10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, hello, my friends in Sasquatch land. Hello, 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 my friends in Sasquatch land. And we are back on this Discover Sasquatch Network. Once again, it's been a while since we've been here. We're a little rusty. We're pulling out some old intros and pulling out some old friends. And we got a lot to share with you all tonight. I'm glad you could all make it. Hello, Miss Diane Fowler's with us. Finding the Trackway. Hello. Blue-Eyed Northern, of course, is with us. Mr. Joe Parker himself. Hello, Joe. Bigfoot World Cryptids, the Paranormal Central Florida. Hello. I hope I can pronounce this name right. Kukul Kengad. How's that? I hope I'm close. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to see everybody pouring in for this. We are here to talk about the expedition that the five of us just experienced down in the Green Swamp. We spent a total of 6 days in the swamp, or 6 days. 6 days in the swamp, I'll call it. It was hot. It was average heat of 102 degrees. The five members that you'll talk to tonight, we all have different opinions on the subject, and we all got along perfectly well on the whole week, and no arguments, no nothing, and it was a really great week, and we came across a lot of great data, and we're here to share some with you tonight. We are going to make a documentary of what we learned and what we captured, but you will hear a little bit about all that stuff tonight. So let me just pull something up here. Excuse me if I'm a little behind the times here, because I haven't done this one in a while here. Hold on. All right, so I'm going to pull the members out. Oh, Mr. Flat Rock's with us. See, everybody's coming in. Glad to see you. Be kind. Hello, be kind. Everybody's pouring in. I'm going to bring everybody out. We got 4 others to pull through. So we will start them one by one. First off, we have the lone wolf himself, Mr. Joey Bruce. Hello, my friend. How you doing?
Pretty good. How's it going, Chris?
Good to see you. Great you can make it tonight. Thank you so much, and glad you're here.
I'm glad I'm here, too.
All right, next one in line is our friend from Florida. You know him as Tim T in Florida. Here he is. Hey, Tim, how you doing?
Good. It's good to be here.
Good to see you. Glad you could make it.
Yep, thank you.
Glad you could be here. All right, so the next one going down the line here, you guys know him as BF Bud. Here he is, Mr. Robert Honline.
Hello, Bud. How are you?
Doing pretty good, Chris. How about you?
Great. Glad to see you. Glad you could make it tonight. It's always a pleasure seeing you. So I'm glad you're here. And last but not least, the man that brought us all together for the whole week, invited us all down to his house, treated us like gold. Beata treated us like gold. We had a great time and caught some great evidence. You know him from the Trail to Bigfoot, Mr. Chris Connor.
Hello, everyone. What's up, Chris? How you doing? How you guys doing?
Hello, my friend. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. I still got an occasional cough, though.
Still coughing. Well, Mr. Mike Morgan's here. Hey, Mike. Haven't seen you in a while. So I'm glad you guys could all make it tonight. We had a great week. We all experienced some crazy stuff out there in the Florida swamp. Along with the heat and everything, we all stayed on track and we did our miles and we hiked our miles and we got data and we were in the heart of it. We were off trail 3-4 miles into the green swamp sometimes, in the thick of it. So I'm going to let Chris come out and say hello first, because he was the man that brought us all together, and let him tell you all why we were all brought together and what was the purpose of the trip.
Well, hey, first of all, guys, I want to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your schedules and joining in on this exploration of the green swamp, because we had that heat wave hit us at the last minute, and man, I'm telling you, you guys were a fantastic team. I would go anywhere in the world with you. Each and every one of you, I would go through heck and high water. You're a great team. I want to personally say thanks to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It was a great week.
Yeah. Well, so if I can continue on to, there's been in the green swamp, and each and every one of you were chosen for the most part as being part of the experiment as well. And if you look at all the team members on this team, everybody on this team has a calm personality. They're a calm-natured person. They're very reserved. They're not really boisterous or anything like that. They're very calm-natured people. This was part of the experiment, and why we chose who to participate on here that we wanted. So I think that was a factor, and it led to us having some pretty interesting discoveries that we're going to share tonight. And the engagement that we had in the various areas, we went to about 5 different areas predominantly, and stayed. And so that turned out to be a very interesting thing as well. And so as we're going to discuss each and every area, please feel free to interject and speak, and don't hold anything back. We want to really share with the people what's going on. So before I turn it back over to Chris, I want to say this one thing. A lot of people have been watching the Trail to Bigfoot for quite some time, and they've seen the journey that I have been part of along the discovery process. I said to each and every person that was on this team in the very beginning, I said each and every one of us are on our own personal levels of this discovery process, and we're on our own journey through this whole thing of how to discover what Sasquatch really is. I said we will all have no problems respecting each other's viewpoints. I said no matter how you feel about the Sasquatch phenomena, I will respect your viewpoint, and we had no issues with that. But for me personally, I told each and every one of you in the beginning that I was basically looking for the evidence of how they're coming and going. Is there evidence that we can find with instrumentations of how they are coming and going? Meaning, and specifically saying, are they coming through portals? Are they coming through gateways, rifts? This is what I was predominantly focused on. And each and every person being at a particular level, a particular skill set, brought that level of knowledge and brought that skill set into these areas to where we were looking for this, to where I was looking for this. So I want to make that very short and very clear up front. Folks, that's what I was doing on this one, looking for that evidence. And I think we might have found some of that evidence. So Chris, hey, turn it back over to you if you want to go ahead and ask anything to the team. I would think maybe want to start maybe with particular areas maybe that we did.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna hop into day one, where day one almost went textbook on what we were expecting. We took what we've learned over the last 9 years of the flesh and blood and looking for them, tracking them and looking for their structures and looking for all of that, and then using what we now are trying to use with the gauges and the meters and what we believe to be going on, and taking them out at the same time. So we day one started it right off, and I'll talk a little bit about it. It was like textbook. We pulled into an area, and Chris goes, "This area looks busy," and it did. It looked busy, and we were all sitting there. And I don't know if you guys saw any of Chris's little teasers clips, but that teaser clip from him talking about me getting hit with something in the leg, and none of us seeing it, is true. Well, we didn't see what threw it, but it did hit my leg. Bud was a witness to it. He saw it hit my leg. It came from the same direction we were all looking in, but it was in the area where they said this was busy, and it looked like something was manipulating the branches and the trees and all that. So that's what I just wanted to get to set the mood that was going on there. We were took out the meters. We started getting readings, and we'll go a little bit into that. So let's I'll bring let's see, we'll bring out Joe first. And I think his
Okay.
bring Joey out first and let him explain what was going on that first day through him.
Well, like you said, there was a lot of things being thrown, just small things, nothing big. And the feet level thing above sea level,
The altitude and the GPS.
and that was very strange. And I did get a couple of spikes in there, but nothing, nothing over the top. But we found that one tree. Remember, it looked like it was dragged from a different area.
Oh yeah. And there was a tree that looked like it was wedged and being held up by just like it was placed there.
Yeah.
All of it was pushed up against another tree.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there's that typical evidence, throwing stuff, which they do a lot.
Yeah, and you were monitoring with your meter. You were monitoring magnetic
and RF. I was going back and forth. The magnetic was really spiking in there a little bit. Nothing over the top, but it was spiking.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened at this area, everybody, is that on the GPS unit, or on the GPS that we were using, we were going under sea level. We were underground 800 feet. And Chris, you want to fill them in a little bit about
81 feet. 81
feet?
Yeah, and I think for most people that follow a particular show on television, you noticed from time to time they report being underground. And for the first time ever, then on my GPS was saying that we were trying to find an anomaly in this area that we never made it to, and the anomaly had it at 168 feet on Google Earth, which was really out of whack. On the way there, we found this busy area, and that's where we decided to stop and started to do the experiments. And so on our various devices, throughout the course of the time that we stayed I'm just going to say the busy area, each and every one of us was monitoring certain things on our devices. I know Bud said he had seen something as well, and we want you to share what you thought you saw and things about that over there, Bud and Tim as well. But Joy was talking about the elevation. We were up to 398 feet above sea level, and then no further than just a little bit further. I saw our dog. Excuse me. No further than just a little bit further away, we were we were getting readings that we were negative sea level, negative 81 feet sea level, which was very, very astonishing. That's never happened to me before, ever, anywhere, in any location. I've never had that happen to me. And that's awfully familiar with, as crazy as it sounds, it's awfully familiar to some other place. But if you could tell us what you saw initially, what you thought you saw, or what you initially saw.
Well, it wasn't nothing particular. I mean, I just caught something. I believe you referred to it as a tuck and duck, Chris, when we was down there. How you say you'd see something tuck and duck.
Yeah.
I seen something because there were some pretty big trees laying down in that swamp. And I just, as we was walking, I was bringing up the rear and I just seen something out of the corner. I just ducked behind the tree and I hollered at you guys and said, "Hey, I just seen something." And that's when we stopped and it started getting real busy there. Yeah. Everything started happening. The GPS, that's the first time I've ever seen the GPS say we went from minus 80 feet underground to 300 feet above ground. I mean, that was really weird there to me. I've never had that happen either.
Yeah, and Joey was saying that he was getting high readings on magnetic, yeah. and then we brought when Joey started saying the high readings on your meter, we did the experiment with the real compass, and we brought out 3 different compasses. Yeah. And so I ain't forgot you, Tim. You go talk as well. I'll share this real fast. So what we had in this area is we was getting magnetic readings. We were starting to get, movement. We were starting to have things that looked like it was being thrown in on us. It was in my back. I didn't see it. We only know what Chris said about something that hit him on his foot or on his leg. None of us are seeing anything in person at all, mind you, but our instruments are telling us something's going on. And that's when we started to play some experiments with the drums and everything like that. We started doing more things.
Well, also, Chris, is that's where me and you was lining up your phone and your GPS was getting different readings for north, side by side. We had them right there in different ways.
Yeah, electromagnetism.
Yeah. The compasses were about 45 degrees off in the beginning. Yeah. We paralleled 2 compasses side by side, and basically one compass was pointing south this direction, and the other device was pointing, the GPS was pointing south like in this direction. They were like 45 degrees different. So we knew we had a disturbance of some sort. Joey's meter was saying that we had
electromagnetic fields. Yeah.
Yeah. And Tim, please interject, man. What did you see when all this stuff was going on as well? What do you recall?
Yeah, we were hearing some sounds. I think we heard a couple of knocks at different times.
Yeah, we were.
We could hear something moving around. Yeah, the compass is reading different than the GPS. Yeah, all that. I was filming a lot up in the trees and stuff too with the thermal camera, and I have a lot of footage still to go over. Mm-hmm. I was trying to see if we could catch any kind of orbs flying around us on thermal camera. One of the biggest things that I remember about it too was when you walked underneath that arch tree and your phone came on, and then when I walked up just a few more steps and my camcorder battery died right there at the same spot where your phone came on.
Yeah, I'll talk about that. I'll talk about that very briefly, since I was the one in the lead. When you're kind of hosting an exploration type thing, you're always in the lead.
Yeah.
So we were traversing, and we were going to be heading out because it was so hot during the day, folks, that we had to really be mindful of the heat. So we made it as far as we thought we could go, and I said, "Hey, it's going to be too unsafe. Let's not go no further." I didn't want a snake bite to occur. Yeah. So I said, "Okay, are we all in agreement? We're going to stop moving further south, and we're going to head back to the vehicle." And then on our way back, like Tim was saying, man, there was like this perfect bow, this perfect arch, this tree. And mind you, this tree was all the way over and embedded in the ground to the point that it was growing from the ground. And then I laughed at everybody. I turned around and laughed at everybody. I said, "Hey," I think these are my exact words. I said, "Hey, when I go through that thing right there and we come out, and we're in the Civil War.
Yeah, you did. That's right.
I said, we're all going to be wealthy, man. We're all going to be wealthy because we all know what happens, man. And then I started laughing, and then you, Chris, said, "Yeah, that's the portal, man." And you was just kind of laughing at it. But I'm telling you, there was other stuff there that was watching us. And as I went through it under the arch, I'm telling you, no sooner than maybe a step or two past it, my phone just goes ding. And
Some kind of power spike.
Yeah.
Energy spike.
It was like my phone alerted me. It did one of them like a text ding, sting. And I turned around and I started laughing at all you guys and started smiling. That's when I pulled it out. And then I looked at it, and on the phone, it had a weird looking screen. It wasn't a typical screen. It had a weird looking screen. And it had on there, call Chris. It had on there, call Chris.
Yep.
Not Chris Reinhardt phone number, hit the button and go. It had on there, call Chris.
Yeah.
And I showed everybody. I was like, wow, look at this crazy stuff, man. And we were getting tri-field RF spikes too in that area as well.
We were, yeah.
Yeah. And so I called Chris. I said, well, let's call Chris. I called Chris and nothing happened. It didn't connect to Chris. We had no cell reception out there at all. Real
bad out there.
And then I proceeded on, and I think, Chris, you were next. And then Tim, you came next, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Tim's battery died, got drained, and then Bud legs got taken out from underneath him.
That's right.
Bud goes for the
I got that on video too. I'm going to show that too. I've already got the heck enough from everybody.
That is in that teaser video, man. You did a face plant, and you were pretty close. Chris said you were pretty close to getting it in the face.
Oh man, I landed face first. I had a camera in each hand, and man, yeah.
All I seen was clouds of dust coming up from Bud's cheek because his face was embedded in the soil.
Yeah. I didn't want to laugh, but it was pretty.
And he was like 10 to 16 inches away from that cypress knee. If he was just a little bit further, he would have been in trouble.
Yeah, we were glad you didn't hit the cypress knees.
Big trouble.
Me too.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, when I visited the swamp, we had foam manipulation. That was the first time I've ever experienced it. I experienced it in the green swamp. And now, once again, here's the first day I'm back in the green swamp, and Chris is getting a message saying, call Chris.
Call Chris. Not call Chris Connor. It said call Chris.
Right.
I don't have anybody in my thing just says Chris.
Right. And now again, this happened over and over again throughout the 5 days.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
What about the one that said hi?
Right.
Oh, we'll get to that. Hopefully we'll get that. I got to talk quick on that.
Right.
Okay. So wrapping up area 1, if everybody had what the overall consensus was it a thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down? I felt like we had a pretty interesting. I felt it went well. I give it a thumbs up, but how do y'all feel about it?
Yeah. I think we need to get back out there again too.
Yeah.
Research in there. Yeah.
The instruments malfunctioning like that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think that's also one of the very first areas that was in the green swamp that was recorded. That we got coordinates on it. That's got a magnetic anomaly of some sort going on there, with compass mismatching and phones doing strange things.
Yeah, the best part about day 1 for me is, like I said, it was textbook. Like it was like I knew the structure part of it. I knew the physical part of it. I knew all that. And now what I've learned in the last few years about the other side of it, it all intertwined. It all flowed together like it belonged together. That's how that's what I got out of day 1. That's how it goes. That's how it is. That's how it's supposed to go. That's how obvious it was. And we weren't we were testing our phones. We tested everything too. We weren't just getting signals out of our phones and saying we're getting signals. We tested everything. It just going to, in my opinion, that is showing that there's two sides to this. And if you use both of them, you might get a little farther, but that's just my opinion. Again, everything we say tonight is just our opinions. We are not stating any facts or whatever. You guys can make up your own mind what you wanna believe and not believe. So get that out of the way too.
Yeah. Okay. So we know the heat's bearing down on us. We make it out of area 1. We're fixing to hit area 2. Mind you, this is only just maybe 30 minutes in time, a little difference. I'm going to play something. Area 2. I'll get it. Just bear with me. There we go. We'll let that upload real fast. We'll play that real fast, and it's going to be kind of an introduction of what happened.
Radio frequencies maxing out. Yep.
Now, pay attention to where.
Yours is weird.
Pay attention to where Joey is. All right, so everybody sees where Joey is. Joey's kind of standing off by himself a little bit ahead. And if you remember and you pay attention to that, I believe that is the direction that we are facing east. So in other words, Joey has not been left behind yet in that video. Okay, so what happens in this area? We were going to use this area to go deeper into the green swamp in a particular area. And so we were getting magnetic, we're not magnetic, we were getting RF readings. And
Yeah, radio frequency.
yes, you saw the video right there before your very eyes. And we had multiple meters going on and showing us this. And Joey standing by himself, he's getting meter readings. We didn't know that. I don't think he told us at the time. He might have. But anyway, Joey was separated from us. Okay? Now pay attention. The team says, okay, it's getting hot, guys. Let's keep pushing on. So we push on, unbeknownst to all of us. Unbeknownst to all of us, we have left Joey behind. And we didn't, I had made a critical failure at that point of the whole, I'm missing one man. What has happened? And so
I was last in line. I got transfixed.
Yeah, we were getting meter spikes as you saw the video. And so we all had a quick discussion. Where's Joey? Where's Joey? It was like, okay, let's backtrack. Let's go back and find Joey. So it was like an oh shoot moment. What happened?
Well, I was intrigued because I've seen some spikes and my meter doing stuff I've never seen it do before. And I just got, I guess, hung up, or like you said, something held me there.
Did you realize you were alone? I mean, we didn't
I realized it, but I thought it'd only been a couple of minutes.
I think for us to walk that further down there, I think it had to be at least maybe 5 more minutes, maybe.
Yeah, it was.
So I think it was at least 5 minutes before we made it back to Joey, maybe.
Yeah, there was just something about that area. I don't know what it was, but
yeah, we got pretty far away from you there.
Yeah,
it kind of held me there.
Yeah, and we're not saying that something took over Joey's mind, and that's not what we're saying. We're just saying Joey got left behind, and whether he truly realized it or not, I don't know. He thinks he was just, he was just mesmerized by looking at the readings he was getting. And
I realized I was left behind. I didn't think much about it because we were on a trail. We've been off trail through the woods. I would have never done that. Never.
Yeah. But what happens is after we backtrack, here's the interesting things, people. After we backtrack, Bud and Chris and Joey, after we met Joey, we had a quick little rest. All right. And so Chris, Bud, and Joey, y'all started to proceed ahead of us. And me and Tim stayed there a little longer. And we were just talking because I had to put on that heavy backpack still. And so I was rigging my gear, and that's what we were talking about. Mm-hmm. And you guys were probably, I don't know how many meters y'all were further ahead, maybe a good 50 yards or something like that, maybe. And it was just Tim and me there. People, I'm gonna tell you something, okay? We started getting RF meter readings in that area for a reason.
Yeah.
And something happened on my phone again when it was just me and Tim there. And Tim, can you remember what happened? I don't want to tell the whole story. If you want to tell that story, you can. But
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
remember? Do you remember enough of it?
Yeah, and I believe I was filming you when it happened too, because I was getting the real high spikes on the radio frequency, which is like standing beside your microwave when it's running, when it's on, and Chris's phone started playing a video.
Voices. We heard voices. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep, and that's when it was playing the "This is Katie, I want to communicate with you," wasn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't that yeah? Yep.
Yeah.
And Chris's phone, when he has to take it out of his pocket, he has to punch his code in to unlock it. So with it in his pocket, not being used, it just came on and started playing that video, wanting to communicate.
Yeah, we didn't have any explanation. And some of you've been watching. Some of you've been watching my channel, you know there is a Katie video that that Joey and I did like last year. I haven't even played that video that I recorded from Katie. I think her name is Paige, right, Chris?
Yes.
From Rocky Mountain Ranch when she was on the Beyond Skinwalker Ranch show, and so I recorded what they did. Well, they were trying to communicate with whatever it was on the ranch. I had that recording, and that recording was nested into a file structure on my phone. And I, for the love of the good Lord, I have no idea how that one particular video started playing, but that one video and the voices we heard was like, "This is Katie, and we want to talk with you." And I was like, "What the heck?"
Yeah.
I looked at Tim like, "What the heck?" And I pull out my phone. I'm like, "Look at this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
How the heck is this going on?" Above all things to be playing.
How many videos you got on your phone?
I mean, videos. I don't have a lot of files on my phone, but she is a file that is nested into a directory structure. You have to open one thing and open the next thing and open the next directory. Then you can see it, and then you got to play it to play it.
Yeah.
How it did that from my pocket, I don't have no explanation of how, but we were getting RF. We were getting RF indications on our meters. And folks, I'm going to tell you this. I've said this before over and over again. All right. There's only really two ways that you can interact with these smartphones. One is via a manual interface through the screen. The other one is through radio frequency. In other words, you can be hacked, or you could be, or Apple or Google, whoever's communicating with you and giving you a download or something like that. It has to be communicated with normally in only those two methods. So above all things, be playing in the Green Swamp at that particular moment when we left Joey behind. I get that. It's crazy. I get that one video.
That was some strange stuff in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember that? Remember the fire pit that we found?
It was like somebody tried to make fire, but they didn't get it done. It
looked like there was like a little kind of ritual type deal going on right there. They weren't building a fire to keep warm. They were building a fire
like
for
a campfire. No.
It was almost somebody that was curious about building fires and trying to build one.
And it wasn't too far. I don't think it was really all that far from where Joey did his pause stop. And
I was just ahead of that.
I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm gonna tell you right now, that video where you see us standing, and Joey's a little bit further away. Tim, I'm telling you, I think that's almost in the exact spot that the Katie video started to play. I think it was almost in that spot because we got the Joey.
Yeah.
And then we walked a little bit further, and then the guys were already further ahead. So I'm telling you, I think it's almost in that spot.
Yeah.
Is where it happened.
Okay.
All right. So that was day one. Other stuff happens. We're not telling everything that goes on everywhere. We're gonna try and make this short and sweet because we're gonna take our time and we're gonna document it all and we're gonna put it out so everybody can see it and hear it. We've got it all recorded. We had enough cameras and enough recording gear going on for everything to be shown and heard. So and it was all captured. So the next day we went to the fridge area. I believe that was day 2. We went out to the fridge.
Yeah.
Hacking. We were hacking. In the video, people, you'll see some orange marking tape. Now, it's been a while since I think Joey was the last person I took out to the fridge there. That area has grown up, and
Big time.
I blew it twice going out there. Actually, I missed it because I navigate when I'm in the swamp. I don't use any kind of compasses or anything usually to navigate. I navigate by terrain features. Is how I do it. And damn, I'm telling you, I missed the mark twice. And here I was telling the team, okay, I'm off. I said, oh, excuse me, I'm off. I'm wrong. So here's
that's how
watching me circle and lose my mind like a dog trying to smell the track again.
That's how much it had grown up. If you couldn't find it right then, well, you've been out there hundreds of times.
Yeah, and in some of these videos, you're going to see orange tape, and that orange tape was put there by us. All right. So if you see orange tape in any of the videos, it wasn't done by anybody else. It was done by us.
That's right.
And we did it to leave a cookie trail in case we had to flee quickly, because I was out there with new people, and also it helps me stay on course in some of these spots. So that explains that.
So this was the night that we brought all the gear out. We brought everything out, and we brought the kitchen sink with us, and we were going to test what Chris wanted to test for it with the disc cone, and we want to fill it. I don't want to tell anybody what you don't want out there. So you explain what you brought out and how we went about it.
Well, in a nutshell, basically, I had in a nutshell, real short and sweet. I had a laptop computer and the power source, and I had a disc cone and antenna with me, and I had a spectrum analyzer and another monitor screen. So there was two screens going on. It looked really neat out there. And that experiment was basically to see if I can detect the 1.6 gigahertz anomaly, if there was a 1.6 gigahertz signal being transmitted while we were out there. Because we did a lot of experiments when we were out there, not just the one that I was running. And in fact, we did see a signal, and I was able to briefly record some of that signal as well. And so that's not make-believe. I can't fabricate that. That is what it is. And I filmed everything there, how it was set up, but that's basically what it was. It's pretty much the same stuff that you had seen on that one television show as well. And so I had that experiment going on, and I think that experiment was spot on. It hit the money. Mm-hmm. And you guys were doing some stuff as well, and we heard the car door.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
the car door slam, the classic car door slam was heard loud and clear.
Mm-hmm. And I've told y'all before, that means stuff's getting ready maybe to start up, because if you hear the car door slam, I've said I don't know what it is, but if you hear it, something's moving, something's going on. There's something going on around us if you can hear that.
There wasn't a car out there, was it?
No, because the slams. Oh yeah, everybody thinks that's someone's backyard. I keep reading comments. I keep reading comments to this day on other YouTube channels that we're really in some development in someone's backyard.
Well, after that car door slam, that's when Joey started hearing stuff back behind him, wasn't it? Something, Joey, whoops or something. Was
that right at the fridge?
Yeah, that was at the fridge. After we heard the car door, then you started hearing stuff behind you.
Yeah, that one way I kept.
You were always trickling around by yourself around the team.
Yeah.
Right. I heard a clear knock, but on the video, it don't come through nowhere near as loud as it was live.
So we call blasted. We're not going to repeat everything that we call blasted. We tried some other experiments. We got some results. We left recorders in the trees when we left. And the next day we returned with Betty and her husband and to gather the recorders and everything. And when we got back to Chris's later that day, we discovered that we have captured a signal of something that sounds like Bud describes it as a 1950s UFO. It is
from
crazy.
a Godzilla movie, yeah.
It has gone out to 5 people to try and debunk what it is. One of them people is Mark Dan Antonio. If you guys know who Mark Dan Antonio is, he's one of them that's trying to debunk this at the moment. It is of unknown origin as of right now. It's a crazy signal. It sounds like we got a response to our tests that we were trying. It was a response to our testing.
Yeah, and our testing was also looking for something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
We were trying to get.
We were doing some of the protocols.
Yeah, UFO response, UAP, whatever you want, alien, whatever you guys want to call it. We were trying to see if the 1.6 and all that could be whatever, could all be linked together. And you'll see more of that and you'll get to hear it. And it's very, very cool. And it could be an unknown ever recorded sound. As of right now, nobody can find it. I mean, they've even looked into raccoon heartbeats and wasp wings and stuff like that. It's pretty.
I was, dude. I had to do my due diligence. I had to take the creatures of the swamp, and I was Googling sounds of stuff I know in the swamp, man, for heartbeats and all kind of things of critters and animals. And dude, I did my due diligence, Chris. Out of all the years that I've been in the swamp, and you guys have heard me say this before, I have not heard anything like that yet. Out of all the audio recordings I've ever done in the swamp.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Why would you hear something like that in the middle of a swamp?
It sounds very unique.
Yeah, I've never heard anything that sounded like it. So it's a great catch, and you guys will be able to hear more of that and make your own mind up once we get done. Once everybody gets done analyzing it, we're gonna put their results and what they found and
it repeated 3 times.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the same signature on the spectrogram, but it wasn't the same frequency. That's the crazy part.
I want to say I crudely brought it up and I looked at it on the spectrogram, and I think I shared it with you that I'm pretty confident that it's 250 hertz and below.
Right.
And I just didn't know how much more deeper it went.
Adam came back with 30 to 120. That's what he got for the range. So
yeah, I knew for certain it was 250 and below.
Right. So it's not very loud, and it's pretty crazy. So that was exciting. That's exciting stuff. And then we went in the next day. We retrieved that. We were with Betty and Ty, her husband, and we went to a couple areas and might have had a couple of things on, and we made our way back out. And then we made our way to the campgrounds. We had more experiments to try at the campgrounds with thermal cameras and night vision cameras and the meters and everything. And we had some good stuff go on at the campground. I mean, all week we had activity of some sort. Of something was messing with us. We didn't see what it was, but something was messing with us. Anybody want to talk about the campground real quick?
Who did you say, Bud?
Bud, yeah, Bud, you want to tell what happened at the campground?
I don't know. We set up camp and got us something to eat there, and then what was that thing you had, Chris, about the grid thing? What's that called?
Oh, just a laser grid.
Laser grid.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. But we just tried different experiments. Joey was picking up some orbs or UFOs, and
did you guys look at the UFO real close?
I'm sorry?
Did you look at the UFO real close?
Just on your phone when you showed it to me.
Yeah, your phone.
The real bright thing.
Yeah, how bright it
swear to
was.
God, it's the exact shape of the flying saucer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like Joey just get them on command. You know?
Yeah, but what did you see, Joey, as you left? What do you recall seeing as you left in your car? You gave it a heads up.
Yeah.
Something right across the field. It could have been anything, but
spend the night. So
I really just seen it was just out of course, like always, it's just out of the headlight range. But I could see something running, and I can't say for positive if it was bipedal, but it looked like it was.
And you gave us a heads up. You said, "Watch out."
Joey,
you said it's bigger than a deer. It was bigger than a deer.
Oh
so
yeah.
We 10 minutes after we get them, or were we in the tent when we got the message?
Oh, not long.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I and Bud, Bud had his hooch. Bud had his specialty hooch in his vehicle, and he had just gotten inside his vehicle, and I think you closed your hatch, so you were bedding down, and Chris and I were. I'm telling you, we have just laid down on the cot, and the recording. I'm telling you, the recording's like 3 minutes and 10 seconds, something like that. And as soon as Chris and I are bedded down, something like hits the tent, and then I start speaking my my army Russian. So whenever
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, whenever Chris plays that, he'll have to be beeping that out because I was speaking
Right.
I was speaking
we
Russian.
we had a stick thrown at the cooler of the tent. We were sleeping in an open air tent. It was just screen. There was nothing covering us. And as soon as we closed our eyes, whack!
Yeah, something hits
right under the cooler.
Yeah. Something hits the side on my side. I stuck Chris on purpose on the wood side, and I was on the internal side, closer to the center of the camp. And so it hits on my side, and that's when I go. That's when I said, "Doggone it, knock it off!" And then I start. I knew.
How high was it?
I mean, that's par for the course out there.
How high was it on the tent?
It hit the cooler. It was like 3 feet off the ground.
Oh,
it hit on this side. It's hit on this side, and so the next morning we went out there, and I went looking for whatever that was, and we found whatever that was, and it was a stick about like this big. And then I looked around, and I said, "Oh, look at this right over here! In between the two vehicles is a tree." So I walked over to the tree to look for prints. I didn't find any prints, but I found more sticks. More sticks in this one area behind the tree that were pretty close to what was thrown, what was at the tent.
Right. And they weren't the one that tree wasn't overhanging our tent at all. Nothing was above our tent.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I took a photo of our tent, if I remember right.
Right. So we had other stuff. Again, we had other stuff happen that night.
There it is. That was directly above our tent.
Here, hold on. Let me put it there.
There you go.
Nothing.
That was directly above the tent. I took that phone and took a picture above. So there was no trees right above us.
So we had other great, cool stuff going. We were having conversations and holding meters in our hands. And every time we would mention the word demon or anything like that, the RF meters would top out. Yeah. Every time Bud would go, he would be talking about it, and then he'd say something about a ghost or a demon, and all of a sudden that meter would go beep.
Who was the one that mentioned that at first? Was that you, Bud, that mentioned that?
Bud, yep.
Yeah.
It almost seems like they're everywhere.
Yeah, because in our conversation, the meter was following our conversation.
Yeah. Yep.
Tim, you didn't go out there that night, did you?
No, I wasn't with you on that one. No.
So then the following day, where did we head the following day after to camp out?
When Angie came, that's when Angie came.
Yeah,
we picked up Angie.
No, the next day we went to the what do you call it, Thunderdome?
Oh, the Thunderdome.
Yeah. That's right. We did go out to the Thunderdome.
I'll be right back. I gotta drop my brightness.
Yeah, we did the Thunderdome, and I think all we caught out there in the Thunderdome was a knock. It wasn't really outstanding or anything like that. I thought the area was pretty parched. The water wasn't even running no more.
Yeah.
And the green swamp was very parched.
Yeah, that there really surprised me how quiet or dead the swamp was. I mean, all week long it was so dry and hot. I mean, there wasn't nothing, or animal wise, no snakes, gators, nothing. So
we didn't see any snakes the whole time that I can recall.
So that was a hike. The Thunderdome is not an easy hike. That's 6 miles in the 100-degree heat with backpacks, snake boots.
What I was saying, you guys, next time, take your vacation 2 months earlier.
Yeah. So nothing really happened that day. So the final day, that night, we pick up Angie from the airport, and we're on our final day, and we're gonna bring Angie to the fridge.
The notorious fridge.
Yeah, the fridge. And Chris and Bud and myself are the four of us are going to the fridge, and it went down that night. I had a feeling when we left Chris's. I even told him when we're pulling out of the driveway, I said, I just got that feeling something's going to go down tonight.
Oh, hey, before we get to the fridge, let's talk about what you and I saw on the roadway going in there. It was no sooner than we were maybe 100 yards past. We was maybe 100 yards down the trail, and I think it was just Bud, Chris, and Angie there. I think it was just four of us. Tim, you weren't there, and
No, I wasn't on that one.
And so we were on the trail, and I do my scan when I walk up, down, left, right, scan. Keep the head on the swivel. I look to the right, and I see something, and it flashed. I mean, just like if you walked into a dark room and you threw a switch and you threw a light switch off and on, it was just that fast. But
Can you tell if it was upright?
It was upright, but I saw something. I'm going to tell you what I saw. And as soon as I got there, I just stopped everybody and said, okay, all right. I just have to say this. I got to say this. And I think as soon as I said, I got to say this, I almost think Chris at that moment said, oh, I saw something. I can't remember the sequence of events for sure, but you and I almost stepped on one another with the color that we saw.
Yep. And the same tree. We pointed at the same tree. Yes,
we were pointing at the same tree. And what I saw, people, Chris turned around, and I didn't even mention a color. And I think Chris says it was blue. Did you see something blue? And what I saw, people, was I saw a human being off to the right side in a darker navy blue jersey with white letters, and it was a guy. It was a guy, a male dude.
Was he running?
Standing? No, it was like throwing a light switch. I mean, it was just that fast. But I could see that he had darker hair. He was a white guy. He had darker hair. He was in a blue jersey, and I could make out like the numbers 80s.
Wow.
He was in the bush. He was in the bush, but I can make out the top part of his numbers. And it looked to me like his part of his numbers were the 6s or 8s or something like that. And it was fast. And then Chris goes, he said he's seen something blue too. And I was like, damn, man, that matched. You saw something too, but I was closer. Mm-hmm. I had a more direct shot at it.
Dude, that's when I turned to Angie and said, I believe Squatching Cowboy's following us.
Yeah.
Him being a Cowboy fan and all.
Blue freaking jersey, man. Blue jersey with white numbers on it. So anyway, that's on the way. That's on the way there. That's a B-roll moment.
So I really don't want to ruin this night for everybody, because this is going to be like a big part of the documentary of what happened in there. But when we went back in that night, Chris had a hard time finding the trail again, and there's a reason for it, and it's well described, of something hiding the trail. Now there's two trails that look identical. One goes to the fridge, and the other goes off to the left. Well, the one that goes to the fridge had a big, huge branch put right dead center, right in the middle of it. And Chris veered off to the left because he thought that was the way it went, because he never was used to them.
That
trail was deliberately blocked.
Yeah. The trail is very grown over. It's almost indistinguishable now. And I only made it out there because I could remember very well. But I lost it twice at that exact location.
Yeah.
So,
we think there's a portal.
Did he get swamp walkered?
Yeah, he got froze up. We'll
Right
mute
on.
him until he comes back.
That's odd that he said the word portal and then he got swamp walkered.
Yeah. But that was crazy. That it was perfect textbook stuff again. Now this is textbook stuff. What they do, what they're said to claim to do. I didn't see what did it. I can only assume. But that trail was blocked perfectly. Like no one would ever be able to find it unless
It fooled me.
What we did, went around it, and there was the trail right there. It was perfectly blocked. But we went out there and we got to the fridge and we left some stuff out there and nothing was touched. Uh-oh. We lost Joey.
He might have dropped.
And then
he said the bad word.
Yeah. So nothing was touched and nothing happened. And we decided to I don't remember how it all went. We decided, what happened at the fridge? Did something happen at the fridge?
Yes, we started having, I think we had some, I kept pointing to the north. I was like, there's something going on. Joy wasn't there, but I kept saying, there's something going on. There's something going on. It's looking positive. And you were doing your experiments, Chris, on the fridge.
Right.
I didn't have any computer experiments or anything. I was just basically observing and overwatching the area while you guys were doing your experiments. And I think, Bud, you were doing stuff too.
Yeah, I done mine back at the back behind the fridge at that tree.
By the log on the
the
big tree on the ground, yeah.
Yeah.
And so so did anybody remember if anything happened in and around where the fridge was at? I mean, because I know Chris played something that we thought we heard again.
Right. So one of the experiments I was running, I'm not going to really talk about it too much. We were using a certain hertz level, which we believe that it's a key to something. And we're playing at the fridge and I'm letting it vibrate on the fridge and you could feel it. I couldn't believe that it's such a low frequency. I couldn't believe that you could feel it in the ground. It was vibrating the whole fridge. And Angie even sat down on the fridge when I was doing it. And she's like, oh my God, I can feel it on my legs. The vibration out of a tuning fork is what I was using. So I tucked the tuning fork away and we decided to go. Chris wants to show Angie the tree, the duck and tuck tree. And we start going around that corner and Chris is going, wow, you got that tuning fork. I forgot the exact verbiage, but he said, you got that tuning fork out again. You playing with that thing again?
I hear it.
Yeah. It's been in my backpack for the last 10 minutes. He's like, do you listen? And you could hear something resonating that sounded just like the tuning fork.
Yeah. It was in the air around us. It was like this. It was like the fork was over our head and just kind of resonating still. And that's when I turned around and stopped and said, you got that thing still running? Or, are you still playing it? And you were like, it's in my backpack. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I said, listen to that.
You could hear it plain as day. Plain as day. So we hear that, we come around the corner, and then we get to this big, huge tree that's down in the forest. I mean, in the swamp. It's huge. I mean, it's huge tree.
Yeah.
And we start doing, Chris likes those the slingshot tests, so we start firing off some slingshot shots into the forest, and then Bud starts playing some
chanting
drum music, and then all of a sudden Bud
plays his own music.
Right, plays his own. I forgot what he was playing. Yeah. And Angie and Chris and myself are sitting right there, and Bud's got his speaker and he's holding it up in the air. And all of a sudden we hear, the three of us hear, we get growled at. Look at my hair standing straight up from just imitating it. And Angie, myself, and Chris look at each other like, oh my God, did you just hear that?
Yeah. Now, mind you, it came from and then it moved toward us.
And I couldn't explain, but we could tell how big it was. For some reason, somehow you knew how big that thing was coming at us.
Now, and mind you, you were shooting the slingshot at its direction.
Right. Yeah. So it wasn't happy.
Yeah, you were shooting that slingshot in that direction because I kept saying, Dad, there is something back there. Right. Yep. And I was like, shoot it right back there.
So how close do you think
how close do I think it was?
Right.
I want to say probably no more than maybe about 10 to 15 yards.
Yep. I think he was that close too.
Yeah, probably 10 to 15 yards. It was typical green swamp, just far enough in the dense vegetation that you don't have eyesight, but you can clearly hear.
Mm-hmm. So it was late. It was dusk. It was we can't be in there after dark. So we decided to turn around. That was close enough for all of us. We all agreed, and we turned around and started walking out. And whatever it was paralleled us all the way out, made sure we were going out. And then Chris, again, down the trail goes, there's something up around that corner. There's something going on up around that corner. I'm telling you, right? So I come around that corner. There's this deer. There's this deer going about 120 miles per hour. I've never seen this before, but it was like 3 feet. It was like squatting down, running. I've never seen anything like it before. And then
it looked like a greyhound.
It looked like a hog.
Just like, you know how a greyhound stretches all the way out and they're really at full speed? Well, the deer was doing the same thing.
Right. He was coming right at me. I thought it was a hog. I started backing up into Bud and Angie, and all of a sudden he seen us, and then he had no idea we were there. He was running for his life from something else. Something else was hunting those 2 deer.
Yeah, when deer's being hunted and it's running, it gets really low. Even the big bucks, they'll have their head down low, and you can't even tell it's a buck coming by you.
He was cooking.
Something was after these 2 deer. And they were really freaking out of their minds running for it.
So there is a lot of other stuff that happened with this night, and then we ended up at Disney for 2 days after, and we had a great time at Disney. And Chris brought us all to Disney, and we had dinner for his anniversary, and we went and did a what do they call it? The escape rooms, one of those escape rooms, and that was cool. It was a great way to end the week. But once again, what we're thinking and what we've been talking about the last, few months or over the last 2 years, ever since I was down in Florida the last time, it's starting to line up to where this frequency, all this is starting to line up with the phenomenon of the Sasquatch. Well, we believe the Sasquatch. We didn't see what growled at us. It could have been anything. It could have been a dog man for all we know.
Right. But if you remember, Chris, because I got it on a recording because my recorder was running. Right after I looked at you and said, it is 7:46 p.m., guys. We're 1 minute past our time. We need to think about pulling out. And that's when it happened. I'm telling you, seconds after I said that, it happened. So in other words, it was like, yeah, I know what you're saying. Hurry up and get out.
Right. He was like pushing us. Give us that final push.
Yeah, it was like something said, like, and then it moves towards us and then abruptly stops. And then and then I look at you guys and I'm like, hey guys, I can't guarantee your safety no more. I cannot guarantee your safety at this point. We really have to probably pull out of here. We got to leave. And that's when Bud and Angie are looking at Angie's like, you don't got to say that twice to me.
Right.
But Bud, I don't even think he even recalled even hearing it. But
yeah, that really ticked me off because I'm sitting there. I just got done playing one of them calls that I played, and as soon as I got done, you said, "Hey, it's about time to go." And then, bam, I see you and Chris and Angie. You all take a couple steps to take off. I'm like, "What's going on? Where's everybody going?" And I'm like, "Didn't you hear that?" I'm like, "No."
And we're looking at you like, you got to be kidding. How could you not hear that?
Hearing, but my God, and you know how much stuff I've missed out on all these different places I go. I know I ain't that bad of hearing, and I don't know. There's got to be a reason I can't hear or see this stuff everybody else is.
We all had sometimes where one or two of us would hear something and the other ones didn't.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just seems to happen like that.
Yeah, and it seemed to me the intelligence was exhibited because something seems to have, it was coordinated with our departure time.
Yeah.
And so whatever that was, it seemed like it understood us, and it was there the whole time.
Yeah. Well,
I kept pointing that direction. There's something there. There's something over there.
Well, Angie even had her GoPro filming that way, and I mean, she's right here, right in front of me.
You guys held it up in the air. I thought we were going to get a score. I thought we were going to get a hit because y'all held the camera up in the air. Yeah. But man, I looked hard in the video, but you know how it is, man. A tuck and duck, you can miss a tuck and duck.
Oh, it's so thick in there, though. I mean, it was so thick in there, you couldn't see 10 feet.
Yeah.
You couldn't. I mean, there's no way. The pom-froms are huge. I mean, you can't see 10 feet.
I was just so disappointed because, man, you all guys heard it and reacted to it, and I'm just standing there like an idiot.
Well,
like, where's
you were
everybody going? You know?
well, you were involved bending over, and if you
Yeah,
bend over, that can
yeah,
if you bend over, your hearing's impaired.
Yeah.
And so because your blood rushes to your head, and you were stowing away your backpack, and that might have contributed why you didn't hear it.
Whatever it was directly in front of us. Direct.
Yeah, Angie told me she thought it was 10 to 15 feet, and I'm like,
well, that's what I thought it was. That's what I say right in the video.
I think 10 yards, no more than 15.
Yeah, that's what I said right in the video. I said, that thing's 10 feet away from us right now.
Yeah.
And we smelled nothing.
No
smell, no odor.
For all that heat, too, that whole week, we didn't smell anything.
Well, wherever that was, I mean, I took out my little puffer I use for deer hunting, and the wind was blowing from my right to left, and it was more out in front of us. So we probably wouldn't have smelled nothing, if it did stink.
So it was a great week. It was a great investigating the swamp again with everybody. We had great time. It was just it was a good week, and like once again, whatever we're in touch with, in my opinion, out there is intelligent. They know that we know that they know that we know, and that's how I can explain it. I think.
And on the way back, when we hit the main road, on the way back, Tim, you saw this. My phone does something similar again. It goes ding, and it was on a weird looking. It wasn't on a regular screen, and I asked Tim because I didn't have my glasses. And Tim, do you recall what the phone had on it?
Yeah, I had a text to you saying hi.
Right after you said the phenomenon knows who you are. Yeah. And then all of a sudden Chris's phone goes ding.
Yeah, I was talking about that subject and my phone goes ding. Yeah. And I said, I don't have my glasses on. What it said, but it wasn't really like a text message. It was like some kind of an app.
Yeah, like an app. Yeah.
It was like an app shortcutted somehow on the main screen. And he said, oh, it says hi.
Said hi.
And I said, Dad, gummit, you sorry? I was like, yeah, you got to be kidding me, man. You doing it again?
You had you said also you had just walked past there was a small tree branch leaning there that was solid white, and I think you had pointed at it as you walked by, and that's when your phone went off as well.
I do so many things out there. I very rarely take people out there, so you guys, you're privileged.
Yeah.
So I do not take a lot of people out there. I'm telling you, I just don't, because I think the area is kind of a long-term. It's kind of a long-term area for encounters and experiences, and really, it really ought to be treated like a place of treasure, man, because anything can go in that area. It's really unique.
Well, with all the testing that was done out there that week, and with all the gadgets that were brought out there, and all the scientific equipment that was brought out there that is measuring all this stuff, the woo thing, you can throw the woo right out the window because this has nothing to do with the woo. This is being measured. This is being logged. This is data.
Yeah, bringing science and quantum physics and quantum entanglement.
Yeah,
we had phone interactions. We had RF meters that were telling us we were getting spikes. I had a computer out there telling us that we're getting 1.6 gigahertz on top of the freaking fridge.
Yeah.
I mean, how much more on the money can you get that?
We're using certain frequencies, getting responses from certain frequencies. We're getting responses from who knows what the first recording is from. So it's exciting. This is like a breath of fresh air to me. I'm excited about all the stuff that goes down out there, and I couldn't have asked for a better week. And I just want to say thank you. And if anybody's got a question, put it up in all capitals. We're going to just run a couple questions here. We're over the hour mark now, and we'll let everybody get on with their night. Skinwalker Ranch is on tonight, so we have to get our popcorn popped and our pajamas on, and
something disturbing is supposed to come out tonight.
Well, we're going to take our time, everybody, with this. We're going to make sure that we do it well. We're going to make sure that we get all the information out to you. I mean, we're going to post the data. We're going to post the frequencies. We are going to give you charts. We are going to give you the whole 9 yards, 10 yards, whatever, 9, 10 yards you want. We're going to show it all to you, and that's what we'll present to you when it comes out. Okay, so Mr. Michael Nelson Jr. asked, what was your favorite part? That's a great question.
Yeah. So who answers that?
Everybody take a
Mine
swing
was
at
when
it.
you walked under that big arch and your phone went off and then my battery died.
And then you get jacked up.
Yeah.
And then he falls.
Yep.
Yep.
My favorite part was the growl. I can't.
Oh, yeah.
That was close. I've never been that close to a growl before. That thing was close.
That was like icing on the cake, and it was physical.
Right. But the whole week was my favorite part because, like I said, it was textbook. It was what we expected to find. It's what we went into this expecting to gather this information, and we did. So
what was your part?
I'd say my favorite part was finding 4 more guys that I get along with and that I can go out in the bush with and feel good about going with you guys. I mean, it was a great time, and I'd say being married and Angie there, I'd just say, well, when she showed up, it had to be my favorite part to cover my butt, you know.
Well, I'm glad on her first shot out something happened on her first try.
Yeah, she seemed to be like a magnet. She's gotten growled up before, and she said this one wasn't like the last one. She said the first time she ever got growled up was when she could really feel inside her body, rattle her innards, and
that was in darkness though, wasn't it? That one time she thought, or did she?
No, that was like close to dusk, but it's still daylight.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, just being with you guys and having a good time, getting along with everybody. Everybody was fun, and I mean, it's just a great experience. And Chris, I want to thank you and Beata. Can't thank you enough for putting up with us and putting us up in your house and showing us all kind of hospitality. I really appreciate it. So,
no worries, you're quite welcome. And
if you guys are ever up this way, we got spare rooms at the house. So you're welcome.
Thank you very much. We enjoy taking care of company and guests and stuff like that. We enjoyed the time. But if I say the thing for me was probably a lot of the encounters were very interesting, but really the moment that paid off for me with a lot of work that I put into it was the 1.6 gigahertz thing. That was 35 pounds of gear plus an antenna, which makes about 40 pounds of gear that someone else was carrying. I think Joey carried it. So that one experiment was 40 pounds of gear.
Oh, yeah.
And to bring that information out, 40 freaking pounds of gear.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's just goes to show that, this 1.6 could very well mean that there is a doorway out there of some sort. That's what they're saying at Skinwalker Ranch it is. I mean, and now we need to go other places and test it. We need to keep testing. And that's the next step, testing.
Oh, and before we move to the next question, folks, this is the key reason why you get results a lot of times. You got to have the right mix of people. You have to have the right mix of people. And you have to determine who that right mix is. We can't make that term. Only thing I can tell you is all the guys on this team are calm natured type personality people. Some people might say I'm not calm at all, but when I get out in the swamp and stuff, I am pretty calm.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Tim's pretty wild man. He gets out there.
Tim's out of control.
Tim was very talkative this time. Tim, I got a ranch that we need to look at.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
All right, here's a question. Have you ever considered practicing mindfulness communication to contact this phenomenon?
Well, that first day at the fridge, didn't we all take a minute or so to kind of thought project?
Yep.
I believe you mentioned that, Chris.
Yeah, I did. I said take a moment. Take a moment to project your thoughts in a visual image in your thoughts and try to project it outward.
Yeah.
That you don't, we don't mean harm. We're just here to try to learn, communicate, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, when I'm out there too, I'll do that myself, and I'll put my hand up on a tree or something and ground myself to nature, and I'll speak to them in my mind, try to ask them if they're around or if they're close by. try to get them to give us some kind of signal.
Let me tell you something. If something is intelligent enough to make it into an iPhone,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you're dealing with something intelligent
Yep.
somehow.
Right. I remember they shut my phone off, and I have to hold two buttons down for 10 seconds to kill my phone.
Yes, you did lose power.
Yeah, my whole phone just went gone.
I remember. Was that an Ariel 1, the first one, right?
No, I think it was the last night after the high. I think it was the last night my phone went dead.
Oh, I remember your phone doing that though.
Yep.
There was so much off and on happening. It was like,
Yeah.
damn, like,
Mm-hmm.
Well, that one day that we was flying them drones, Chris, they erased your GPS, didn't they? Just drained everything from it, didn't they?
on my GPS. On my GPS.
Yeah. When Chris and Tim was flying their drones, remember you got your GPS out and it was drained.
Yeah, that's right. You said it was
Yeah.
it wouldn't
Yep.
come on or it was dead. Yeah.
It was
Mike?
gone.
Mine or Chris's?
No, yours.
Yours.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you
I
told
said
us that
that.
you just charged it last night.
I
Yeah,
said
when
that. I don't remember that.
Oh yeah,
you
drained
was
it.
kneeling down, getting in your bag, and you was like, "Well, look at there, my GPS is drained, shut off."
Oh, I remember it now.
I'm pretty sure
That's why we didn't use it for Joey.
Yeah.
But
I remember that now.
so all right, well we're over the hour. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in on this channel. I just want to say goodbye to these guys, and then I'll tell you guys what's going on here after tonight. So thank you all for showing up tonight. I'm sorry that Joey left us, but if you guys hang backstage for a couple minutes, I'll be right back and I'll say goodnight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the team from Florida, or whatever you want to call it, or Sasquatch Adventure. How's that? We'll call it an adventure.
Thanks, guys. Each and every one of you. Thank you very much for coming
Thank
down.
y'all. Thank y'all for being here.
Mr. Chris Connor, Tim T in Florida, and BF Bud. All right. So thank you all for showing back up on my channel. This is not going to be an every week thing anymore. I'm kind of giving a break from the podcasting. You guys all know that I no longer I'm doing anything on Untold right now either. I just needed a break from the podcasting. I'm a guy that needs to be out in the field. That's where I love to be. And after the Florida trip, I just hit me that's what I have to do. Real American Monsters, as you all know, is going good. We are filming right now the first episode, and that will be out soon. I will continue to work with Chris and Bud and Tim and everybody that was involved in this. We will be sharing notes, and we will be continuing to do what we're doing. So again, there's no hard feelings with anybody that what's going on right now. I just needed a break from doing the podcast thing, and I hope you all understand. I miss you guys every week. I get emails telling me that I missed, and I wish you would come back. And I really appreciate that. I really, really do. That means a real lot to me. But I was under heavy fire for a while too from a certain couple people that were being out of hand. They were even making false accounts of my face and everything on Facebook and putting it out there and making comments that I was, it was just awful what was going on. And the police almost had to get involved. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. And they know who they are. So I have reported it to Facebook right now because I just came across another account. They were drawing pictures of me and putting hats on me and putting my name on the account and stuff like that. I mean, child BS. And I had enough of it, and I didn't need to see it all the time anymore. It's just believe what you want to believe. That was the best part about this week that we went out. There was not one argument. There hasn't been one argument since. We all talked. We all did it. We hiked our butts off in the swamp. It was over 100 degrees all week long. Nobody got hurt. Everybody got along. There was no bickering, and we had experiences with something out in the forest, out in the woods that's going on, and the phenomenon is real. Look into quantum entanglement. There's beginner books on quantum physics. You'll learn a little bit about it. That's what they're using at CERN. They're trying to find that graviton so they can find the particle, the God particle. That's the last piece of the quantum physics that they're looking for. There's a lot that you can learn about it, and there's a lot of that going on out there. So if you're interested in that stuff, you can email me, and I'll turn you on to a great book that you can start by looking at it. So again, thank you all for showing up. Keep an eye open. We might pop in from time to time this summer from doing investigations, but I will let you all know when Lured is out. It is coming very soon. Can't show it right now, but it's coming out very soon. So I'm going to get these guys, say goodbye, good night to these guys, and get on with my night also. The eye is doing very well for all you that have kept on asking. So I appreciate it all. I miss you guys, and we'll be back soon. So as Larry says, get in the woods, people.